Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Luke. I'm an attention artist, and one of the things I love doing is shifting people's attention around in order to create space for insight. And last week I mentioned how I believe that 100% of our problems are simply magic tricks that we haven't figured out. They're illusions. They come down to our thinking. A problem is basically a dead end to a train of thought. There's nothing real. There's nothing tangible. You can't feel like a wheelbarrow with problems. They're all intellectual. They're all in our head. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. But one of the reasons that we see magic in the world and we love magic effects and magic tricks and David Blaine and all that stuff is the exact same reason why we can have problems, or we can see ourselves as not good enough, or we have limiting potential and we have limiting beliefs around things. So I love to explore that kind of stuff. And one of the things I mentioned last week was this idea that I got from a friend of mine who's a coach. His name is Rich Litvin. That's where I first heard it. And it's a thing called Santa Claus moments. It's a moment that once you know, you know. You can't go back to not knowing. It's like a magic trick. Once you've seen how a magic trick works, you can't go back to the innocence of not knowing. Nothing in the physical world will change, yet everything seems different. And to me, there's something kind of fascinating about that. Lately, in the transformative coaching conversations that I've had with clients, one of the big things that I do is I used to, years ago, the coaches that I followed and those kind of things, it was a bunch of advice giving. And I've actually gone more away from that to where, to me, the most transformative conversations that we can have, whether it's a coaching conversation or just a impersonal conversation, is creating a space for insight, creating that space for fresh thinking. And there's a couple positives to that. One, you don't want to give advice to someone because God forbid they take it and then you're on the hook for it. But also, if the client or the person you're talking to, whether it's a family member or a friend, if they see something they didn't see before that changes their world, but they're the ones who noticed it, they're going to run with that. They're going to take ownership of it. Just like a trainer can't do the push-ups for you, they will see the insight, they will take it, and they will run with it. And there's that ownership that I think makes all the difference in the world. But also seeing the conversations as an exploration versus seeing them as, advice giving. So in line with that, one of the things that I love doing is creating these conversations where you can see something fresh, you can see something new. And with the Santa Claus moment, the big thing is once you know, you know. And you can never go back to not knowing. If I take this coin and just give it a bit of a squeeze, you can see the moment that it actually vanishes, just like that. Now, notice how you felt in that moment when you saw it and you were surprised by it, all two of you. Here's the thing. If we take the coin, I'm going to expose how it is done. Now, this trick is as old as the hills. You can find it anywhere on YouTube, so it's not like I'm exposing real magic. So here's the thing. If you take it, it's called the French drop. I'm assuming a French guy came up with it. I have no idea. If you take the coin, and it looks like, from that perspective, it looks like I'll take it, but what's going to happen is it just falls into my hand, just like that. So it just falls into my hand. And another thing I'm doing is actually, if I make it look like it's going from one hand to the other, if it looks like it's going from one hand to the other, all my attention is going to my right. So if I take it, if I'm looking there and I wiggle my fingers, all your attention is going in that direction, right? So in real time, if you just take it and just give it a bit of a squeeze, it just disappears, just like that. So with this sleight of hand that fooled all two of you, you have that moment where it's magical at first, and then once you know how it's done, once you know the inner workings behind it, you understand it on a new level, you got that insight into how it works, it'll never be the same. You're not going to fall for it the second time. You're not going to, you're not going to think of it as magical, which kind of takes away from it. But also, what if we see our problems as once we understand how it works, how our train of thoughts are working, we don't have to fall victim to them either. Think of someone at the bank who, maybe they got the email scam that says, hey, you need to, renew your membership for something. And they click the link and they put in their credit card and they do it and they fall for it. And, whatever happens. But the next time they see it, they're not going to fall for it a second time. They're going to have that insight into knowing how it was done. One of the things that happened to me recently was this week, I had a nice little Santa Claus moment when I was driving, and like normal, I am not as punctual as I'd like to be, and I was running late, and there was kind of a lot of traffic on the freeway here in Las Vegas. And, when I moved here from Los Angeles to Las Vegas 4 years ago, one of the happiest moments was to never be on the 405 again. And I'm in traffic, a car cuts me off, and there's a bumper sticker on the car that says, I am not in your hurry. And the your was capitalized. And for some reason, it just hit me on the head, just like popped me out of my habitual thinking. And I was just realizing how when I'm sitting in traffic, my thinking is not going to make the traffic move faster or slower. No one in the other cars even cares about what I'm thinking. But what the insight that I got from that bumper sticker was, I thought my thinking was more important than the people around me. I thought my hurry, the reason I needed to be there, was far more important than the people have no idea what's going on in my head. And how crazy that kind of sounds when you think about it. So it really just kind of took me out of that idea. And I was not laughing out loud, but I was really smirking because it was just like so obvious once you see it. Now, will this insight make me impervious to traffic in the future? No, not. Absolutely not. Will I get frustrated with traffic in the future? Guaranteed. Probably this week, to be honest. And the one thing that I hope is that knowing kind of that perspective, that one moment, that one thought that changed everything, because we're really just one thought away from a totally different reality. The next time I'm in traffic and the next time I kind of get that, I feel that mental pressure building up, just realizing that I'm thinking that my thinking is more important than anyone else's, really just starts to alleviate the pressure and make me realize kind of how crazy that sounds. And I'm hoping that the more often it happens, the quicker I'll get to that relaxed state of just not being bothered by it, to where at some point it just goes away and you're not even aware that it went away, So let me know if you've ever had a Santa Claus moment, if you've ever gotten an insight that somehow nothing in the physical world changed, but yet everything internally completely changed your perspective for the positive. Write that in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. And also, if it's changed anyone around you, if that kind of helped, pay it forward like a ripple effect to anyone else, I'd love to hear about it. So put it in the comments below. Until next time, have a great week.